Like peanut butter is to jelly, the NFL draft jingle is to the massive fans that boo Commissioner Roger Goodell. Hello, everyone. I'm Joe Cronin, and welcome to the Toss-Up. This is a very special weekend for football as the best of the best from the college game patiently wait their name to be called to transform their life. Every year of the draft provides new angles, and the 2025 class has plenty to dive into. Could we really see the two-way Heisman winner in Travis Hunter take his otherworldly athleticism to the highest level? Has the running back hype train returned as the incomparable force of Ashton Jeanty aims to crack into the top 10? And of course, which of the first-round talent quarterbacks has the making to be a franchise guy? We have lots to discuss this episode, so stick around, roll that intro, because it's all next on the Toss-Up. We're just a week away from honestly one of the best weekends in football that doesn't take place during the season. The NFL draft, it's in Green Bay this year. I'm definitely very excited for that, being a Green Bay Packers fan. Introduce the panelists here. We got Riley Woodall, Jet Garrett, Preston Andrews, and Riley. Want to take a little full circle moment for us. 2 years ago, we co-hosted a show together, and it was the NFL draft, our first ever hosting experience when we took the reins of this show, and wow. It feels weird. Feels weird.
I'm proud of you, man.
Isn't it?
I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Look how far we've come.
Give some skin.
Look at that. Come on now.
So we'll go around the circle. First with you, Riley. Green Bay being the host side. How cool is that? I know you're a Packers guy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome, Joe. And I want to say it's kind of weird being in this seat because I'm usually feeling like I'm always in that seat because I'm always in that seat. Yeah, exactly. We got some room. We got some room. I think it's great because some of those smaller markets, right? They're able to get those tourists that come in. They're able to get a lot of that money, a lot of that publicity in there that I think they really deserve. I know Packers fans are hopeful that it's going to be a really awesome draft for them this season. They've got some solid picks coming up, but I think it's awesome. It's nice that it kind of rotates around because I feel like if it was just in one spot every single year, it'd get a little bland.
I think it adds to you kind of get the whole community involved. Like you saw like with Detroit last year, it was packed.
It was a party.
It was a party. I imagine Green Bay is going to be the same way.
Oh yeah.
What else is there to do?
Come
in Green
on,
Bay, Wisconsin,
right.
Other than football and beer. Jed, I'll ask more, and with Preston as well. Like thoughts on the rotating locations. I mean, good for football.
So, as a Jets fan, it was awesome when it was in Radio City Music Hall every year because it's kind of the Jets Super Bowl anyways. They don't go to the playoffs, so they show up for the NFL draft. So it sucks that it's not there every year, but I do agree with you guys. It's really cool to see it go to places like Nashville, Detroit, now Green Bay, and just see it go all over the place and see different fan bases, different cultures. I think it's really cool that they started rotating it.
Preston.
Yeah, I think the draft is awesome. I think Green Bay being a football city, they're going to crush it. And to me, this sort of feels like college game day a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not week to week, but like you're moving these massive crowds, these big personalities. ESPN's going to have their big wigs there, right? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. So that's what it feels like for me. And me personally, I think so much positive energy around football and the draft. People's dreams are being made. I love it.
I can't wait for 3 straight days of Mel Kiper Jr. just ripping into the good.
I wonder if he's going to be right this time because he's usually been pretty good at predicting.
Sometimes
Past few times
he
hasn't been very good.
He's all over the place. But I can't even do his impression. His voice is so distinct. I'm not even gonna try. I'll spare everyone's ears. But let's talk draft. We do have some business to talk, and it's the easy question, but it can be a little difficult. Riley, you first. Who's going first overall?
It's Cam Ward. It's easily Cam Ward. He's the best quarterback in this draft. He's one of the best players in this draft. And Tennessee needs a franchise guy. The Will Levis experiment, whatever you want to call it, it's done. Good job, by the way, that you went on that Mayo commercial, Will. I see you. You made that money. That's a solid job because that's about all you're going to do. I'm sorry. Great commercial.
He had a Hall of Fame run with the NFL meme community. I mean, between the pick six where he's like this, where he's flying around. I mean, it was textbook. But yeah, Cam Ward's looking like the guy. I mean, he was on a stream talking about his top 4 wide receivers. Had Calvin Ridley in top 4 and Traylon Burks. If that's not a hint, I don't know what is. Jet, who's going first overall?
I agree. It will be Cam Ward. But I honestly, if I was sitting at Tennessee HQ, I would take Abdul Carter #1. I think he's the best player in this draft. Wow. I think that, listen, and here's my thing. I think you've got a guy like Cam Ward, who I think is really good, and obviously we'll talk about him in a moment, but when you have a player like Abdul Carter, he's not only a day one starter, I think he's a guy that can make the Pro Bowl in year 1. I think he is a generational talent off the edge, and if edge is not the most important position in the NFL, but it is second to me, in my opinion. And if you can get a guy in there like that can make plays consistently, he started 16 games this past season after moving from linebacker to defensive end, and he led the nation in tackles for loss. So it will be Cam Ward that's going #1, and he gets to play with Traylon Burks. But I do think
top 4 wide receiver right there.
I do think Abdul Carter is just a generational talent.
I mean, we've seen the reputation that Penn State edges have with what Micah Parsons done this in his time with the Cowboys so far. Preston, are you rounding out 3 for 3 on Cam Ward?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. I think Abdul Carter's awesome, right? But just the way that the whole Will Levis thing went, I think Cam Ward and Brian Callahan are going to fit together pretty well. I think he gets the ball out pretty quickly. He's got probably the best arm other than Jalen Milroe. As far as consistency goes, it's better than Milroe's, right? But the thing that concerns me a little bit about Cam Moore is when you really shrink the field, right? Get into those red zones, those scoring situations. That's where he's not as good. He completed less than 40% of his passes in the red zone this year, right? Where Miami was explosive. They scored a lot of touchdowns. I think he's a running threat in the red zone, right? But I think if he's a little shaky, I think Tennessee taking a quarterback is the right move in a division that's sort of wide open. Again, it's a step ahead from Levis. Really reminiscent sort of the Caleb Williams, Justin Fields thing. I think a little bit from last year where you have a QB that I don't think is a completely closed book yet on his NFL career, but with the opportunity at #1, I think they're going to take the most important position in all of sports.
Especially to lock it in. When you have decent receivers, they've been working in free agency. I don't think you can miss on that. Press, I'll bring it back to you. What would the Titans be getting from Cam Ward? Like you said, was the highest scoring offense in all of FBS, and he was the one taking the charge of that Canes offense. What would the Titans be getting from Ward?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're getting a really sturdy football player, right? I think especially in the run game. You mentioned it. I think Tony Pollard's workload's going to go up. They signed Kevin Zeitler. They signed Dan Moore. I don't know how you feel about a guy that was getting ran out of Pittsburgh coming over and giving him $80 million. But I think they get a guy that can stretch the field. Traylon Burks, Calvin Ridley, they're explosive football players, right? I do think they'll add probably another weapon, tight end, wide receiver later in the draft, but I think Cam Ward is steady. I think he's going to really take away some of the Will Levis, what am I doing? I think there's going to be significantly less of that. I think what they've also done is they've got a new GM, right? They probably just got their head coach another year or two.
Yeah,
signing that quarterback. That's the carrot that you can dangle right in front of that front office of, okay, if this looks well, even if we're picking at the top of the draft again next year, we've got the most important piece locked in.
Yeah. Especially if he has a solid year, if he's not, subbing himself out of games. You can show off the jersey a little bit, Preston.
I appreciate the outfit.
The camera pans over to you. He's got the AR jersey on, but Jet, what would the Titans be getting from Cam Ward at 1?
I think, and I loved Cam Ward when he was at Washington State. That's where I fell in love with Cam Ward as a quarterback. He only got better at Miami. He improved in completion percentage, touchdowns. He threw 39 touchdowns this past season. He rushed for 4. He threw over 4,000 yards. He's the clear-cut best quarterback in this class. I think you pair him. You mentioned the receivers, but he also mentioned in his Twitch stream guys like Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard in the backseat.
I mean, it's all but certainly happening, right?
Right. I think you're pairing him. I think Cam Ward makes your offense better. If he is kind of everything you want him to be, or at least 75-80% of that year 1, I mean, the Titans are certainly going to be a lot better than they were a season ago, and I think they could be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Especially in a weak division.
Right.
Because, I mean, the Texans had a relatively down year from that first season of C.J. Stroud, and we've seen what the Colts – well, we're not sure what the Colts have been doing these past couple of years, but yeah,
Riley. I don't know if they're sure sometimes.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean.
No offense, Preston.
No offense.
Let the carousel continue.
Yes.
When Aaron Rodgers signs with the Colts, that would be great.
I'll make mine quick because I know we want to get into some of the more nitty-gritty stuff here. I think I agree with what both these gentlemen have said. I think the thing that sticks out to me the most about Cam Ward is when I'm looking at quarterbacks that are kind of similar in skill, how do I separate them, right? I put them in 2 categories, either quarterbacks that you can win with and quarterbacks that you can win because of. Miami won so many games this past year because of Cam Ward. Not because of anything else, but because he put on his Superman cape and he went and he drove down. A lot of them were comebacks too, and he got his team the dub. So I think Cam Ward, you can win games because of his skill and his talent. I think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I think Tennessee is getting a steal with this guy.
Well, that Cristobal defense was some Swiss cheese at times, for sure.
Yeah.
Want to move on, keeping it player specific, arguably the most entertaining player in, I'd say, the past 10 drafts. When have we ever seen something like this? It's a two-way player, a two-way Heisman winner, Travis Hunter, deserving of his jersey retirement at Colorado. He's done unprecedented things for college football. Riley, around the panel, asked, can he do the two-way in the NFL? And if he can't, which is he better at?
So I want to start by saying I think he's going to go number 2. I'll start there. I think the Browns are going to take him, even though, you know, there's opportunity to take Abdul Carter, and then you get Myles Garrett and Carter on both sides. That'd be dangerous. But the Browns need a wide receiver, and they were also the 27th worst defense in the league last year, just across all stats, right? So they need a guy that can go both ways. I think he is a better wide receiver than a cornerback, but I think he is going to play both ways for the first 2, 3, 4 years he's in the league. Just with the nature of the sport, he's going to get banged up at some point in time, and I think once that happens, his touches are going to be a little bit more limited on one side of the ball or the other. I think if you have to make a pick, if you're the Browns kind of managing him either way, I think you got to put him at wide receiver because you only really have Jerry Jeudy. So I think he's better at wide receiver. I think that's what I'll do with him, but I do see him playing both ways for the first couple years.
That's a lot of snaps.
Yeah,
that's a lot of snaps.
It's a lot of snaps.
He was able to do it in college.
But he can do it. Right, it's possible.
He's proven it.
Sorry, yeah, a little voice crack there. It was great.
That's kind of where I'm at. I'm with you, Joe. That's a lot of snaps, and it's tough to do in college. You're playing more games in the NFL, and I don't know if anyone can really put into words the difference in speed from the college game to the NFL game. I think he's a better cornerback. And I think that's honestly where he'll be drafted. I think he will be drafted and he will be played as a corner. He's a great receiver. Don't get me wrong. He had 1,200 yards last season. He was a very good receiver. I just think he's such a lockdown corner, and I think he's a ball hawk as well. He deflected 11 passes, had 4 interceptions this past season.
True.
I think he's going to be really good. But I think
Biletnikoff winner, though.
I mean, you're not. I don't think. Listen, we can.
Okay, yeah.
He's a generational talent.
Yeah. Agree, and I wanted to get into that as well because we say all the time generational talents. He is the definition of generational talent. When have we ever seen a player that we can sit here and have conversations of? Well, is he going to play wide receiver? Is he going to be the corner? I think he should be. I think when you're drafting him, you're getting a guy that's like a Sauce Gardner or Derek Stingley that can go and catch passes. I think if he will probably play both sides, they'll get him involved on the offensive side of the ball. But is he going to play every snap, every down of the game?
No,
not a chance.
No.
What would be more likely, that he plays every defensive snap or every offensive?
I think it'd depend where he goes. If he goes to Cleveland, it could very well be offensive. If me personally, that's why I'm sitting here and I'm not on the sidelines with the playbook, I would probably have him on the defensive side of the ball more.
Let's get Jack Garrett a headset for that.
He might come in on some packages. If he plays defensively, they might actually put him in on some offensive packages or vice versa.
Right.
Travis Hunter, can he do it?
Yeah, I think he absolutely can. The first thing I think of, though, right away, I think you hear out of Colorado, the guy's getting IVs, the guy's missing practice because he's so dehydrated. I mean, he's losing 7 pounds a game. That to me sounds like a logistical nightmare as a coach, right? Like, how do I separate this guy? His talent's unbelievable. I agree he goes to Cleveland. Cleveland defensively is a 4-3, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome on the outside. I like that cornerback room a lot more than I like Jerry Jeudy and Cedric Tillman at wide receiver. I think on offense, Travis Hunter's the best when the ball is going his way in the air. Well, on offense, you can put the ball in the air his way on purpose, right? I think of the great catch that he made against North Dakota State. I think we see him at wide receiver to start the year, and then he's the third DB, right? So does he play both ways? I think right away, yes. Does he play every single snap? I doubt it right away, but I'm not going to put it past him.
The one thing I'm going to look out for if he's drafted by Cleveland is the AFC North is notorious for, it's the grit and grind. They get down and dirty. They're physical. They're a physical division, so that will be something fun to watch. I want to segue more quarterback-based, not talking Cam Ward. The other guys that are projected to go first round, there's a handful. See, some mock drafts have 4 first-round quarterbacks. Maybe Tyler Shuck is slipping into the first round on some boards. Preston, I'll bring it to you. Which of these guys besides Cam Ward is kind of catching your eye that maybe is maybe flying under the radar or is like they can kind of take a team right away?
take a team right away is really interesting because I don't think any of them can.
Yeah.
But with
Except
that-
Ward.
w-
Except maybe
except
Cam
Ward.
Ward.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. But with that being said, I don't think that means they're all bad quarterbacks.
Sure.
I think that the NFL is not a developmental league. You've got some guys that haven't played a ton of college football. I mean, Dart's 2 years, Milroe 2, which is more than a one and done, right? But at the same time, I think there's still a lot processing-wise that these guys need to go. If I had to pick, the Milroes, the Darts, the Shedeurs, give me Milroe.
Oh, God.
And this is interesting. I think he goes to the New York Giants. Not at 3.
Okay.
I think in the second round, Brian Dable and Josh Allen. That's where he made his money in Buffalo. Listen, the deficiencies of the deficiencies of Jalen Milroe are evident, right? But I think he's got the best arm strength and deep ball in the class, and I think he has the best athletic tools at quarterback. I think his first year, assuming the Giants pick him, he's a package player, right? And then you see Russell and Jameis, and then I think eventually he's the quarterback for New York because I think that's what Brian Daboll likes. So as far as a fit goes, I think Jalen Milroe in New York, that's my best situation as far as another quarterback emerging next to Cam Ward.
Preston, you had our floor director, Henry, just like up in arms.
Yeah,
all that
he's shaking
pick.
my head back and forth.
I mean,
man.
what a fun quarterback room New York is already.
Yeah, that's
with
right,
Tommy
right?
DeVito, Jameis, and Russell Wilson.
Jameis will also give him advice that no one else in the league.
That no one
far
would
as-
ever
yes,
think of to
yes.
give. But Jed, which of these quarterbacks, maybe Jalen Milroe as well?
First of all, I didn't hate the Jalen Milroe to the Giants, by the way. I think you sold me on it, by the way. I will say that. You sold me on it. I'm not high on this quarterback class at all.
Yeah.
I think Cam Ward is a dude. Where would he have been drafted last year?
I don't know.
That's an interesting
That's a
question.
great
to bring
question.
Great
up.
question. Yeah.
I do think that if you're talking Shedeur, if you're talking Jackson Dart, if you're talking Jalen Milroe, I would probably go Shedeur out of those 3. But that is not because I think Shedeur is necessarily a phenomenal quarterback. I just think pretty low of maybe the other 2. This quarterback class is really tricky. I think you're going to see
Unproven.
I think you're going to see some late round guys. I think you're going to see something like that where these are the guys that are kind of emerging as better quarterbacks. Maybe a little Curtis Rourke, Riley Leonard action late.
Yeah.
Curtis
Shuck
Rourke.
now
Who's your
jumping
shout
up the
out?
board.
Shout out the Hoosiers.
As he
Yeah.
repairs multiple parts of his body. I mean,
Right.
he was
Yeah.
he was banged up in that season, but Riley round us out with the
I
quarterback.
can't believe it. We're going to actually agree on this.
All right,
I
I love
I
it.
thought
I
we were
love
gonna
it.
butt heads.
I love it.
So I agree with Jet in the sense that this quarterback class is not very deep.
Yeah.
You have Cam Ward and that's it. There's a significant drop off compared to previous drafts that we've seen where there's elite level quarterbacks, 3, 4, 5, even 6 of them on the board.
Yeah.
Last year was
Yeah,
crazy.
exactly. It was insane. Here's what I like about Shedeur Sanders. He had the best completion percentage among starting quarterbacks compared to anybody else in college football last year. Yeah. I understand.
yeah,
He was in a bad conference. Yeah, whatever. I think he's going to go to the Giants, Preston. They've worked out with him. They like him. They've talked to him several different times. This goes back to even when he was playing still with Colorado this past year. The New York Giants had the 31st worst scoring offense in the league last year. They need a quarterback. I think Shedeur is going to be able to come in, get some advice that he needs, and he could honestly be the guy. I really think he could be the guy. All these, you've got these media articles, you got these reporters that are talking negatively about Shedeur Sanders. That's like your friend telling you that you shouldn't date the person you're interested in because they're too good for you.
That one's going over my head, Riley.
Yeah,
I'm not
you-
I'm not following.
Can you explain it to me like I'm 8?
Sure it is, Riley.
Basically, Shedor's good, and all the people that are saying he's not good, it's only because of the name of the on the back of his jersey.
Okay. All right.
That's why.
I do think
I like the analogy.
I do think if Shedeur went to the Giants, I think that would be perfect for him. I do think they will take Travis Hunter because I think Abdul Carter will go too.
Okay.
But I think that Shedeur to the Giants would be great because he's not a day one starter, in my opinion. I do not think that he is a kind of guy that can start day one. So if you let him go and you sit behind Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, I think that would be a lot better for him than if he went somewhere and had to be the day one starter.
All right, we're gonna segue. You guys can see on the teleprompter. I have to ask this question. It was my favorite player in college football this past season. He's making running backs cool again, especially at the college level. Ashton Genty. Is the hype real?
Yeah, 100%. The hype's real. He's not the fastest guy.
His
but
contact balance. Oh, he just.
But he's explosive, and he breaks a crap ton of tackles. And the thing that I really like about him, too, is he catches it well out of the backfield. Yep. He had a great receiving yardage portion of that 2 seasons ago. Less so this year, but that's because, he was
300
2,600 on the ground.
Exactly. I think a lot of teams are going to be gunning for Ashton Genty. I could see him going to the Raiders, Denver, even Chicago.
Please, the Raiders.
If he falls all the way to
Raiders.
Chicago. It's possible, right? I really like Ashton Genty, and I think compared to the quarterback class that we have, the running backs class is a lot deeper. I think there's a lot of talent that can be developed properly. I think Genty needs the least amount of development compared to the rest of them. But I think he comes in, he's a day one starter, and he instantly changes your offense because you got to respect him running the ball and catching it out of the backfield.
I want to spin it for you two. How much do you think Saquon's season is helping for having a projected top 10 running back?
And unbelievably. I mean, we were talking about it out there. The running back, this is a running back renaissance, and it's being led by Saquon Barkley. It was getting very bleak for running backs of, okay, here's your rookie contract, it's done, we're replacing you with the next guy. I think that with the year that Saquon Barkley had and Derrick Henry had, Josh Jacobs, Aaron Jones going to other teams. Sorry for the Aaron Jones.
It's okay. Josh Jacobs is our guy.
Josh Jacobs is the guy.
But just seeing guys like that go to a second team and still perform this year, it's helped guys like Ashton Genty and Marion Hampton. We talked about Damian Martinez a little bit, Dylan Sampson. Genty I think he's a top 10 guy. I can't see him going past the Bears. I think if the Bears take him, that's a home run draft pick because I think it elevates. I think it'll be similar to what Jahmyr Gibbs did for the Lions.
Yep.
But yes, I think guys like Saquon Barkley are amazing for Ashton Genty.
I'm very curious to see how Genty does against NFL defenses because when he had to play Penn State, obviously when it came down to Penn State's D-line versus Boise State's O-line, there was a gap. But he was still able to produce to an extent, break some tackles in the backfield, but that's just what the game called for. Preston rounded out with Ashton Genty talk.
Yeah, I would agree that the running back season, the hits in free agency we saw last year, it certainly helps Genty, right? But you know what also helps him? 1,882 yards after contact, right? You mentioned almost 600 receiving yards. He didn't catch the ball this year because they were like, we're going to break Barry Sanders' rushing record.
Yep.
Like, we're going to turn it off and hand him the ball, right? That was the offense. Should he have won the Heisman? I don't know. You mentioned the contact balance, right?
Yes. No.
It's a bowling ball. I think Ashton Genty is as close of a plug-and-play, instant NFL guy. He's probably right up there, maybe even some of the offensive linemen in this draft. If he goes to Vegas with Chip Kelly,
that's Marshawn Lynch 2.0.
Yes. Yep. And Pete Carroll had Reggie Bush at USC. Those guys love running backs.
They know
right?
how to work around.
Right? You saw Ohio State's offense. You saw when they were at their best, it was Henderson and Judkins with an even workload. So yes, the offseason last year helped Genty, but I think he's also a darn good football player. He's going to have a really good career and made the decision easy with what he did on the field.
All right, gentlemen, I only have one more question in this block, and it's more based off of team specific. Obviously, every team wants to get that guy to come in and make a huge impact, but Preston, I'll start with you. What teams, or which team in specifically, is pretty desperate that their first-round guy needs to be a hit?
Yeah, I look at two pretty good quarterbacks in the NFL, Joe Burrow and C.J. Stroud. And those guys have either been having to score 40 or run for their life their entire NFL careers, right? I think in the Stroud part, it's a little bit more like he was the most pressured quarterback in the NFL this year, and then you get rid of Laramie Tunsil, right? I think the Texans have to take an offensive lineman. They got Christian Kirk with Tank Dell out, but I think you've got to fortify the Citadel, right? Keep it in front. C.J. Stroud, I think, regressed enough last year, and it's because I think he's under constant duress. They've got to get that right, and it's a division, again, very winnable if they get that corrected. And then I go to the Bengals. Higgins, Chase Burrow, $100 million. You're not going to be shelling out money to big-time defenders, right? Al Golden comes over from Notre Dame. Benjamin Morrison, maybe in the second round, cornerback from the Irish. Maybe Jack Kaiser. I think he's a really good defensive coordinator. I think they either need to hit on defense or interior offensive line because Joe Burrow and C.J. Stroud do not deserve to be wasted.
I like that.
I'm speechless.
Justice for Burrow and Stroud.
That was poetic there. Jet.
I had two teams because, when you say teams that need to have a good first round, I immediately think of San Francisco and Cincinnati. I think San Francisco and Cincinnati are two teams that have had success. They've been to Super Bowls, haven't been able to get over that hump yet. They need.
You said
Sorry
over
for
the hump.
using over.
You said over the hump.
That one's on me. I wanted to lean into Cincinnati a little bit because, but I mean, I don't know how I could do it better than that. Listen, I'll tell you this. I'll mark my words. If Cincinnati gets a hold of Mike Green, the second best edge in this draft class, led the FBS in sacks, that defense is going to be unbelievable. You get Trey Hendrickson paired with Mike Green on the edge, dude. I'm telling you right now. Don't get me started on my Mike Green tangent because I think he's
you seem started on
one of his I was reading through his profile. One of his weaknesses is that he plays too hard. That he tires himself out and he plays too hard.
That's like Michael Scott telling you his
I don't listen.
right there.
If I'm an NFL coach and if I'm going out and I'm saying we're going to prioritize defense, we're going to bring in Al Golden from Notre Dame who did an absolute phenomenal job, and like you said, they will probably draft the Notre Dame guy in that second or third round. They're clearly prioritizing defense. If they can go and get a guy that works too hard, give me him every single day and twice on Sunday.
All right, Riley, round us out. What team needs a
Jet, what'd you say? He works too hard?
Works too hard.
That kind of reminds me of the Blind Side film where the dude blocks him out of the field.
Yeah.
And they throw a flag on him. It's like, I don't know, excessive
blocking.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. I was going to say San Francisco. I'll throw in one more. Preston's team, the Colts. You guys really, really need to hit first round. And I really think you're going to go tight end. I think the Colts would do great. I just lost my pencil. The Colts are going to do great with a tight end. They're not going to lose on that if they choose a tight end. I think Colston Loveland would be a perfect fit for them. He's reliable. We'll get to that in just a little bit. But they need a target for, AR to go to, right? They need somebody that is reliable and consistent in the pass game. And also, the Colts use their tight ends a lot on the offensive side. So I think the Colts they need an offensive guy. They need a pass catcher in the first round.
We'll see. It's going to be fun. This draft's going to be a lot of fun. But coming up after the break, we'll be right back. We have a special segment to dig deeper on the first round potential. Don't go anywhere.
You're watching IU Student Television. The Toss-Up, Fridays on IUSTV.
Welcome back to the Toss-Up. The panel and I'm not really playing the game. They're playing a boom bust segment. I've given them each 3 players, and they are going to grade if this first round prospect is a boom, like Big Justice and AJ, or a bust. And Riley, you're going to be our first guy. Obviously, we will keep record of this, so if they end up being stars, I'll send you guys the tape.
It's on record.
I'll send you the tape.
Record,
this is on record. Riley, your first guy is Mason Graham, boom or bust?
I think he's going to be a boom. He was a unanimous All-American this year. Lot of experience. This is a guy that stacks up the blocks, looks for the ball carrier, and is able to get off the block very quickly to make the tackle. He's able to get his hands up in the pass game and defend those passes from those quarterbacks. He was a machine in the Ohio State game. I think him and Kenneth Grant single-handedly won that game for the Wolverines against the Buckeyes. Mason Graham, he is a boom for me.
That was animated. I like that. Your second guy is Jalen Miller.
I'm sorry, Preston, but this guy's going to be a bust. So here's the thing. Here's what's contingent on this, like Shark Tank, a little contingency. If Jalen Milroe is able to sit behind somebody, he'll be good. If he has to start immediately, he's going to be a bust because speed kills for him. That is his main point that is separating him among other quarterbacks. He's the fastest quarterback compared to the rest of them, right? But speed kills, inaccuracy kills more. His middle accuracies and his short accuracies are not very good. Throws the deep ball as good as anybody, but he's got to bump those numbers up if he wants to be a prime quarterback in the league.
Naysayer, and he's gonna let you know. Possibly.
He might. If he gets that experience, sit behind somebody, he'll be good.
Last guy, Colston Loveland.
Oh, boom, 100%. He's going to be a reliable target for whoever takes him. I like him to the Colts in this situation. He doesn't drop very many passes. He's very active at blocking in the run game as well. He's great against zone coverage. He finds those weak spots. Colston Loveland is a guy that I really, really like. I think he's honestly better than Tyler Warren. I like him as the #1 tight end in the draft.
Wow.
He's going to be a boom for me.
All right, Jet, you ready to play boom or bust?
Let's play boom or doom, baby. Here we go.
Boom or doom. All right.
I don't want to get copywritten. I don't want to get copywritten.
Yeah, wait.
But.
Tet McMillan.
Boom. I don't know why he's slipping. Why is he slipping in the draft? Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons.
So good.
He excels very well. He can make guys miss. I don't know. Matthew Golden is not better than him, and I think Matthew Golden could be very good. We can have a conversation later, but Ted McMillan is certainly a boom. He's a top 10 pick. He should be the first receiver off the board, without a question.
You get the big
unless Travis Hunter is.
Your second guy is the guy with the big bandana, Jackson Dart.
As much as I love Anakin Skywalker, and as high as I've been on Jackson Dart for the last couple of years, I think he's going to be a doom. I think he's going to be a doom. Nothing sticks out for me. I think he's a great college quarterback, but would I want him to be the quarterback for my NFL team? No, I would not. I think he's a doom.
And your last guy, the highly touted edge from Texas A&M, Shamar Stewart.
I think he's really athletic, and he's a freak of nature. He's 6'5", 267. I think he's going to need a little bit of development. He had 3 sacks over the last 2 seasons combined. I don't understand why the numbers aren't there for him, but he is a freak of nature. I think he's a boom. He needs a little bit of development, though.
Preston, to round us out, playing some boom or bust or boom or doom if you're Jet. First guy, the tight end, Tyler Warren.
Love Tyler Warren. That's a boom, right? This is a guy that, if you look at Penn State's offense, that receiver room just makes you sick, right? And so what do? Oh, we'll snap the ball to Tyler Warren. We'll hand it off. We'll have him throw. If we're having pump, pass, and kick, I'll probably draft Tyler Warren first overall, right? He lined up at slot receiver more than he did on the line just because they didn't have anybody else to throw the ball to. The thing with Tyler Warren is I think in the NFL you're going to see the production dip a little bit just because he doesn't have to do as much, right? If he goes to the Jets at 7, Penn State didn't have anything close to Garrett Wilson last year, right? So love Tyler Warren when he runs his routes. It's like he's got a crowbar just whacking people. A lot to like about a guy that plays football really hard.
Jalen Walker.
You know me as the Rizzler. I'm the Panther dressed in black. Boom. I love Jalen Walker. Plays in the box. Plays in the box and on the edge. He can play everywhere. This guy played punt coverage for Georgia. That's how much he likes getting after it. Carolina 8. The thing is, I don't think he can survive as just an edge rusher. First and second down, I think you play him in the box on the inside. When it's time to get after it, Jalen, go pin your ears back. I don't think he can just survive on the edge.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Last guy, last boomer, doom, boomer, bust, Will Johnson.
Bust. Love the Big Ten. Listen, here's the thing about Will Johnson. The only knock on Will Johnson coming into the draft process was, can he keep up with guys? Is he fast enough? What does he do? Doesn't go to the combine, has his pro day, doesn't run his 40. Your only question, answer it. Run, compete. Show me that you can do the only thing that scouts say you can't. If you're not going to do it, I don't know. I just don't buy it. Highlight plays at Michigan. Listen, a 90-yard pick six against Fresno State. There's 3 receivers bunched in the boundary. They run a now. Nobody blocks him. He just goes and takes the ball and runs.
This guy watched film.
This is awesome.
This guy watched film.
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not.
He's the best pure corner in the draft.
Benjamin Morris.
Answer the question. Run. Show me.
Benjamin Morris.
We can take this conversation outside the show, but we have reached our time limit. We will see if you guys are eating your words or feasting on your takes. Preston, Jet, Riley, thank you so much for joining the show. Riley, it's been an absolute honor co-hosting this show with you these past 2 years. It's been a joy. This is my last one of the semester. I got one more. I got one more in me, Vince Carter. But yeah, thank you so much for following along all year long. Riley's got the wrap up. Next week, a great show, Little 5, of course. That's going to wrap up this week's show, though. As always, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports on both platforms. One thing left to do, toss it up. I caught it, and I guess I'll see you in the fall of 2025. So, yeah, goodbye.
Thanks for watching IUSTV Sports. Be sure to subscribe at IUSTV and follow us on Instagram and X at IUSTV Sports.